Welcome to The Quick Fix, a series that gives you wellness tips that are founded in research and that are practical and easy to apply in your life right now. These are short episodes that focus on all aspects of wellness: physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, financial, professional, and personal. The goal is to help you and I to live lives that are healthy and soaked with meaning and purpose. So let's get going. Have you noticed these days that everybody around us just seems to be upset all the time? You leave home, people on the road are upset. You reach office, the boss seems to be upset. People around you seem to be upset. You leave back office, you get home, the spouse is upset, the kids are upset, even the maid is upset. What's happening with just everybody being upset? It seems like there's an upset cycle which has been triggered within the system, and it's just percolating up and down the pecking order. And we find ourselves caught in this cycle at an individual or systemic level. Welcome to this episode of The Quick Fix. Today, let's you and I try and figure out why we tend to get so upset about so many things and what we can do about it. And if we start calming ourselves down first and not getting upset at and with other people, we can break this vicious cycle and reduce its downstream effects in our lives. So please do share this episode with other folks in your team and family and hit the follow button for this channel. So let's start talking about this issue. Why is everybody so upset? Now, we've all heard of IQ, intelligence quotient. There is now another IQ that seems to be taking over, and this is called the irritability quotient. The irritability quotient. And irritability quotient seems to be just far outtaking the intelligence quotient. So what is irritability quotient? It refers to the amount of upset and annoyance that a person just tends to absorb and store in one's daily life. So one just absorbs it and stores it, and therefore our baseline of irritability just keeps on going higher and higher. And so what this high irritability quotient does is that it makes a person overreact to frustrations. Starting from the traffic in the morning, where we are just upset, we reach home, something happens, we reach office, something happens, and then this sort of baseline keeps on creating feelings of resentment and just darkens the way we start looking at things. And all this pent-up resentment, this rising irritability quotient, just sort of plays on one's insecurities and vulnerabilities, and at some very subconscious level brings self-doubts and shame to the fore, to the front. This sort of explains common behavior that so many people who are upset tend to demonstrate. That is, when in doubt, get upset with someone else, attack them. So getting upset, feeling upset, demonstrating upset is just one way, an easy way of dealing with the stuff that's going on in my own head, in my own heart, in my own thinking. Why? Because the best way to protect myself is to quickly put somebody else down. Let's understand this a little bit more. Now think of all the situations that really upset us. And it's easy to find triggers, or it's easy to put blame on other things for the things that upset us. But research shows that the real reason we get upset is not because of an event or a situation, but how we think about these things. So it's actually how we think about these things, the things that trigger us, the people who annoy us, the traffic, all this, the way we think about these things is the real cause of our upset. And that's the real cause of our frustration. The fancy word for this is called cognitive distortion, and this is how it works. So let's imagine we're in the office and we are in a meeting, the boss is there, all my colleagues are there, and somebody from my peers disagrees with my brilliant point of view and actually proves that what I'm saying is actually quite faulty. How do I feel? I feel upset, I feel insulted, I feel rejected, I feel criticized. And so therefore, Now I start seeing this person as my enemy, and I want to get back to him because he has really hurt me. So now my thinking leads to a polarization in this relationship and even may start a very subtle interpersonal warfare. I'm going to get back to you. But in reality, it's not that colleagues' input about my presentation or my point of view, but in reality, it's my own thinking patterns, it's my own internal voices about what has happened. And normally I don't hear these internal voices, or they are at a subconscious level, but it is these voices about what has happened that creates this emotional reaction. And actually, what are these voices saying? The voices would be saying, oh my God, now my boss thinks I'm an idiot. I haven't done my homework. My career is ruined. My promotion is ruined. Everybody here thinks I'm a fool. They'll all be laughing behind my back. Frankly, nobody is possibly thinking about any of this. It's just my own faulty thinking. It's my own fears. It's my own anxieties. It's my own insecurities and shame that sort of raise my frustration, that raise my baseline anger, that really makes me upset. I keep on churning it within me. It increases my irritability quotient, and I will either snap back and react at somebody else in the office, or I get back home and then I put somebody at home down, either my spouse or my kids, or just kick the dog. I create my own upset. And that happens because of the way I process data about things that happen and my own faulty thinking. And these are usually faulty voices in my head that shape my emotions and reactions, and then they just sort of put me in this vicious cycle. And you can imagine this is happening with everybody, and we are all reacting and overreacting and counter-reacting. That's how this upset cycle starts. And the traffic doesn't help because we are already upset and processing it. The traffic and some other infrastructural issues just take it to the next level till there is an explosion. So the question is, how do I break this upset cycle? How do I get out of it, not only for myself, but also for people around it? One way to do this is a wonderful, very simple mindfulness technique that I've been practicing over the last year or so, and I've found it really, really helpful for myself. Now remember, it's a skill that requires practice and effort, and that's when the benefits start to flow. And it's not that you have to practice for many years, but you do have to practice this consistently over a few days, over a couple of weeks, and you will start seeing the benefits. It's not magic, and it doesn't work if you do it just once and say, oh, well, that really did work for me. So let me share how this mindfulness process works. First of all, just start by noticing the times that you get upset. Note it down and the triggers that upset you. What in particular upset you? This person, the comments that he made in the meeting about me, the way he knocked my presentation down. Note these things in your journal or diary. And noting down is an important aspect because the moment you write it down, you are able to create some separation between you and this upsetting thoughts. The goal is to create some separation, because the moment you create some separation, you are more in control. The upsetting thought is not in your control. So step one is to note these triggers that upset you and make a note of them. Now, step two, when you start feeling upset, start with just noticing the feeling of upset within your body. Just notice it. Tell yourself, man, I'm really upset now. And this is really upsetting me. I'm feeling upset. I'm noticing this upset. Notice where in your body you're feeling it. Perhaps you're feeling warm and hot. Perhaps your heart is thumping. Perhaps, you're getting that old familiar pain in the neck or in the stomach or in some joint. Start noticing it. Just noticing it. Don't try to change it, dissolve it, get away from it. Just notice it. For a few days, just notice it. Know that when this trigger happens, this is the feeling of upset, and here whiz. Here, I'm just going to notice it. Noticing also without wanting to change it, without wanting to do anything about it, is the next step of mindfulness. And it's a very, very important part of mindfulness, just noticing. So you may think, hey, there's no big deal. There's nothing else I have to do. Noticing itself is a large part of the action. Next, moving to a slightly deeper level. As you start noticing this, there is this technique which is lovely. It's called clouds in the sky. Think of a blue sky. Think of clouds just passing by. So as you notice these thoughts that upset you, or as you notice these feelings of upset, or both can happen together, look at them and treat them as clouds in the sky. So there is this vast blue expanse of sky, and this is the clouds which is just passing by. And one upsetting thought comes, it's the cloud which is just passing by. Notice the thought and just let it pass by. Don't process it, don't think about it. And if it starts upsetting you, notice the feeling and then just let it pass by. Tell yourself, these are clouds. Visualize it. These are clouds. They are passing by. The first time you do it, or even as you start doing it, it might sound a little flaky. It might sound a little corny, but it is an important part of mindfulness. And hey, it's so easy. What have you got to lose? Make a commitment to yourself to try it out. Just clouds passing by. So this is called a clouds in the sky technique. And you're again doing what is actually a mindfulness exercise. So first we looked at writing down the triggers, then noticing the feelings that happen in your body without trying to fight it or change it. Then you're starting to use the clouds in the sky technique. Just let it pass by. It's clouds. It's just a cloud. So you're not trying to change it, heal it, do anything to it. Just notice it and let it pass by. Next, as this starts happening, we go to the fifth step. As you're noticing, as clouds, they are passing by, take a deep breath. Take a few deep breaths and breathe out slowly and mindfully, and tell yourself, I'm breathing this upset feeling out. Here's this cloud. I'm breathing it out. I'm breathing it away. So as you combine the clouds in the sky technique, as you combine this breathing out work, you will find that just with a few times of conscious practice during the day or during the week, you will find that you will start seeing some benefits. Now, it's not instant magic. It's not Maggi 2 minutes noodles. As you start doing more and more of it, you will start noticing changes in the way you deal with these upset phases in your day or in your week. So let's bring it to a close. Now, in addition to this technique, if you find really that the upset feeling in your life is at a deeper level, you're trying this technique, but you're really struggling with some stuff which is deep within you, then I encourage you to work with a life coach or work with a counselor who's trained to help you talk these things through. Remember, the real cause of upset is what is in your own mind and what your mind is making of it. So mindfulness techniques would help, and also working with a coach or a counselor would also help. You will certainly start seeing some benefits in just a couple of days of conscious and consistent practice. So do try it out. These are proven techniques, and let's not get swept by this tsunami of upset. Choose to take a stand and break it, first for yourself and then for others in your team, and most importantly in your family. Let me know how this goes for you. Talk to you soon. And that's it for today. Thank you for listening. Please connect with us on coachtoolbox@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to follow, subscribe, and review this channel. Details of our ICF-approved coach training programs and our services as executive coaches and coaching supervisors are on www.globalcoachtrust.org. See you in our next session.